2, 1.
Here we go!
Welcome to Sorare in the States Football. Here are your hosts, the Taco Slayer FUNDAY and MLS Card Guy.
Oh, welcome into some Sunday Shenanigans. We're back here at the end, almost the end of match week 10. And dude, it's flying by. We're over a quarter of the season through. We're going to get into all the Saturday action, as always. Well, there's 2 games in this afternoon, but whatever. We're here, as always. Chris, the MLS Card Guy, here with me. No, Alex. He's off doing fun stuff, being busy, having a life, and we're here talking about MLS. How dare he? How dare he get vacation days already? We're over here grinding.
I don't even get vacation days. I think we need to renegotiate this contract here. It's ridiculous.
I wasn't aware there was a contract. Oops. I didn't sign nothing. Cool. But here we are. As always, another Sunday fun day. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into MLS action. Try to keep up with all the chaos that happens. It was a quiet start. Nothing was happening. And then as soon as the 8:30 games kicked off, it's like all hell broke loose. It was just chaos. Mike Basson here in the chat with us. Afternoon stateside, evening Europe. Good to see you, Mike. But Chris, how was the weekend? You were actually texting me during the MLS games this weekend. You were you were tuning in a little bit.
I did a little bit of watching, not a whole lot of watching. I had the Cincy Atlanta game on. I had the Columbus Portland game on, but I of course was actually watching DC and New York City. And then when the penalty shenaniganery happened, I turned Toronto and New England on and turned off Cincinnati. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot happening. I don't know. I wasn't really paying that much attention. No, I was watching New York City and DC and like texting and like doing all kinds of different crazy things. And you could tell that DC had no chance in this thing. So
yeah, we did call it, man. When you have a lot of suspensions in the team and they're your main guys, it's not.
We had 3 guys on the bench.
Well.
Yikes.
Yikes. Shout out to Hunter in the chat. First, we're gonna just say he's first.
Yeah.
And Mike Baston saying coming off the high of a Jude last minute winner in El Clasico. Wow, scenes. You love to see it. Man, big European football, but guess what? The better football's here in the MLS. That's why we're here. And that's why we're going to talk about it. But first, we're going to do something we haven't done in a long time. Back in the day, Chris used to love it. I used to love listening to Chris talk about it. So, Chris, we haven't talked about the table in a long time. Now that we're a quarter of the way in, I think we need to take a look at the table. It's probably starting to take shape. So, take it away, Chris. What do we got?
I'm gonna be 100% honest. I don't remember what I said when I went through the table before. But we're gonna go through it a little bit here because we are, like you said, a quarter of the way through. And I think there's definitely at this point we can start to look at the standings and start to say like this team's up, this team's down. First off, you've got Inter Miami in first, which I think a lot of people would have guessed. I will caution slightly because they have played an extra game over just about everybody, and they've played 3 extra games over Philly and 2 extra over Atlanta. So I don't know that they're like running away with things quite yet. But like, you never know. We'll see. We'll see how things go. I think on their day, it's pretty much impossible to beat them, right? If they roll out their first choice, like everybody's healthy lineup,
it's an uphill battle.
Yeah. You've got some issues. So I think once we get to playoff time, they're going to be definitely ones to kind of watch there. But they have shown weaknesses, and I'm very interested to see if they can kind of improve the defense. Because if you notice the goals allowed column over here, all the playoff teams are less than 10, and they're at 15. So again, more games played, but. Yeah, I think they're not without weakness, right? They can be beat, but it does help to have Lionel Messi on your team, as it turns out.
Just a bit.
Does help. Kudos to Red Bulls because they are in second. Technically,
they could have won that game too.
First, definitely could have won that game against LA. I think we kind of nailed it with the match preview. Red Bulls are a good team. And especially with Forsberg, they can score. I would not want to get in their way. Now, again, this is typical Red Bulls to some degree because they're always good in the regular season, and can they actually win in the playoffs? Forsberg might be that difference maker. He might be that guy that like you need a goal at some point. He can kind of come up with it. So I think New York solidly into the playoff race here, and I think they'll be pretty solidly into the playoffs. Cincinnati, I think, is kind of surprising, at least to me. I thought they would drop more than they have, and I think this number is still concerning to some degree that they still can't score. I think they still need more, right? Emil Forsberg, I love that. Cincinnati still needs more additions, specifically up top. Upenza is not the guy. I think we can pretty safely say that at this point. But they've still got Lucho, and they've still got an absolutely killer defense, especially when Celentano comes back. But Alicon looked good in the Atlanta game that I was watching. There were tons of chances, and Alicon was really holding his own up against Brad Guzan. And they give up a goal and then immediately strike back to score two of their own.
Yeah.
Beautiful counterattacks.
Where did that come from, Cincinnati? Hello?
Yeah, they were kind of going back and forth. I guess we'll get into the game a little bit later, so we'll save that. Yeah. But overall for the season, Cincy very good defensively. Don't start attacking stacks against them, but still trying to find this offense. So I think there's a ceiling on how high they can get. Specifically in the playoffs, it's really difficult to win when you can't score.
Good evening, Dan. It's going to be a bloodbath.
Oh my God!
Rest in peace, San Jose.
I'm kind of hoping for Galaxy to not do well in this game because I have a lot of them, and all of them are in pointless lineups that are already dead. So I kind of want their L5s to lower a little bit and their L15s.
It's not about you, Chris.
That's beside the point. It's always all about me. I'm Beyonce always. Okay. All right, Columbus next. I think really interesting start to the season for Columbus. About where I thought they'd be.
With CONCACAF. Congratulations, Columbus.
Yeah, with CONCACAF, they've gotten through that, fairly well. Same thing for Cincinnati, same thing for Miami. They've gotten through that fairly well. They even put Cucho in timeout, and he didn't lose his mind. He still has the right attitude, so good for him. Going to be ridiculously hard to beat in Columbus, I think. I could see this 0 staying up here for quite a while. But yeah, I mean, Portland sucker punched them a couple times and got a couple free goals, and they still couldn't beat them. Yep. Columbus is really good. They're really good offensively. They can score with anybody, and I think they're better than this defensive mark as well. I think they've had some rotation, games where they haven't really had their full defense, but like Amundsen, Nagby, even Aiden Morris to some degree.
Let's go.
Morera back there, like they've got some.
I had him on my bench this week. I'm so mad,
dude. What a banger! What a banger of a goal. But they've got some guys at the back that I really like, and Schulte is solid. So good for them. Toronto.
Hello?
I'm not going to say I called it because it's a little too early for that.
Hello?
They're -3 goal differential, but they don't realize how to not get points. Like they just grind out results all over the place. Like when they lose, they get killed. When they win 1-0. They can't score to save their lives at this point, but Insigne coming back will help that. Bernadeschi helps that quite a bit.
Hey, Richie Laryea is floating around somewhere too.
Richie Laryea eventually will be back. So this has been a very injury-filled season for Toronto, and they're still in 5th. And they think surprising people. I don't think they're surprising me. And I will not want to be playing them come Leagues Cup or come playoffs if they are healthy. Because remember, last year they were the Inter Miami. They were the team that everybody thought they're going to run away with the East, and they had a terrible season. But Herdman's got them believing again. So again, watch out for Toronto. Philly doing what Philly does, still not losing any games. They haven't played any games, so it's hard to lose when you don't play. Still got the whole CONCACAF thing has kind of sent them back quite a bit. But they've got a lot of games to kind of catch up on, and assuming that they don't drop a bunch of points in those games, they'll still be up here in the 2-3-4 range. I think it'll be interesting to see if they can withstand, like if Jack McGlynn leaves. Like I don't think this team has depth at all. So if they get any injuries anywhere, they could fall off a cliff. But
They're on their
as of
last
right
dance
now,
for sure.
I mean, as of right now, their starting 11 is still world class. Well, not world class. It's MLS
class.
caliber class. Atlanta
Cracks are starting to show.
I think maybe a little lower than some people would have thought, but I think this is about where they are, especially if they lose Almada this summer. They're gonna have some serious issues.
That's where you are when you have Brad Guzan in goal.
Mm-hmm. To be fair, like +4 goal differential is one of the better ones in the league. So they're just kind of not getting great results. Like when they're winning, they're dominating, but when they're drawing or losing games when they shouldn't be, but I think it's telling that they can at least score. Again, Philly can score too. But I'll be very interested to see. Giakoumakis was back in this game. He subbed back in. So that's good news for them. But be very interesting to see how Atlanta goes. And I think this is kind of their spot. Charlotte, I'd say great start to the season for Charlotte, right? They're, I think, about as high as I could have ever predicted them being. They're also positive in goal differential. One of the best defensive teams in the league too. So good for them. They have played one less game than a lot of other teams as well. So potentially could be even higher on this list if they can, get a result out of that. And I think this is the telling thing, right? Charlotte is all about home and away. It's if they're at home, start them. If they're away, fade them. Easy. New York City, same thing, home and away, and specifically home in Yankee Stadium versus away is a big difference. This was a team, so I watched this game, and we'll probably get into it a little bit later on. But this team has a lot of talent. They have a lot of good pieces, and I think they've got pieces to make a run. They need one piece, which I think will eventually come back to bite them. They need a striker. They need someone who can put the ball in the back of the net. Since Tati left, they haven't had that, and they haven't been the same team.
But they have Santi, so it's fine.
Santi's good, but he's a creator. He's not going to finish. Like he did finish in his last game, but he also missed a wide open chance, maybe two.
We won't talk about that. Only because he scored.
New York probably had, he put up 100, and he could have easily had like an extra goal and an assist, like easy.
Blitz will hit that when we hit the game real quick because you can kind of stack them, but not really.
Yeah, I think it depends on who you want for my Bulls. Anyway, the other New York team. So, I think they need a striker. They need someone who can put the ball in the back of the net because they created maybe 5 wide open chances where it's like you need to score these, and I think they scored 2 of them. And it's just not Bakrar for what he does off ball and how well he presses and how well he can link up play at times. He cannot finish. Like he's a striker that cannot finish. Like I've seen multiple times now where he's been in the 6-yard box and just open net and just misses. And it's like, I mean, I do not get it. And he's like on the bench. They subbed him out, and he's on the bench like head and hands. This team's up 1-0, and he's head and hands, just like, my God, how have I not scored a hat trick in this game? Which he should have. He honestly should have scored a hat trick. Bakrar, just terrible. And I mean, he does to some degree. He's not like a complete lock hole because he helps create some chances too. But man, New York City needs a striker, and
they do,
and they'll be really hard to beat if they can get a striker because the defense is fine. Matt Freese and Martins back there, they're pretty good. If they can score goals, it's be a tough team to beat. Montreal, I think Montreal's too high. I think this is more indicative. -4 goal differential. Now, to be fair, they have been on the road a lot, and they have only played 8 games. But they just concede way too many goals for me to think that they're actually going to have a chance in these playoffs because I think some of these teams are going to start to rise. I don't think any of these teams are falling. So, I don't think Montreal is going to make the playoffs this year. They still need more. They just need more talent. They need more depth.
And they're hurt right now, too. Shout out Mason Toye is back.
Mason Toye is back. Did he score?
Yes, he did.
He did.
Yes,
yeah.
he did. Nice, beautiful open goal. Where were the defenders? Nobody knows.
It's okay. We'll get to Orlando in a second. DC, man. Part of me feels like this team should be higher. Part of me feels like we've played road games against tough teams and come out with draws. And it's like, you take those, But then it's like, but we also played Orlando at home and lost. We also played New York City, albeit away, but not at Yankee Stadium, and got absolutely thrashed. Now, granted, that was with a lot of injuries and yellow cards. And to some degree, that might be the problem at this point, is they just literally don't have enough bodies and they play a high-pressure system. They had 3 guys on the bench yesterday. That's really hard to press and be super aggressive when you have 3 guys on the bench.
Shout out Daniel
FC
stopping by. FC Dallas also makes me sad, Daniel.
Oh, boy,
I'm sad with you, but I'm glad you're here.
Don't worry, Jesus Ferrer and
Appreciate
Alan Velasco are on the way, so let's not.
And Abada decisive, most likely, because Minnesota ain't the greatest.
But that's in Minnesota, isn't it?
No.
Oh,
no,
it's
Charlotte.
Okay, never mind. I'll let you talk about Orlando. I think we've discussed Orlando quite a bit, but I'll let you. What's the thoughts on Orlando?
Listen. Orlando, we're coming back. I think we tried some funny games trying to figure it out. Oscar's been very open about trying to find the right places for players and putting them in the right positions, yada yada. And it looks like we're going back to the system that we were running last week. Like I've said before, having that double pivot back and healthy just unlocks the offense a little bit more. And it's still not quite there. I still think Nico should be coming off the bench. Duncan's a good spark off the bench, but Ojeda needs to be starting. It needs to happen. I don't know why they keep playing these games, but things are looking up in Orlando. I could finally confidently be like, okay, I'm not in ruins. So
I think Orlando, a big story with this team, and this happened last year. They're actually fairly good on the road. 1-2-1. They obviously got a win and a draw in their last 2 games on the road. They need to do better at home. They have to get wins like Charlotte does. Charlotte maximizes points at home, whereas Orlando drops points where they shouldn't be at home. Yeah. Until I see Orlando start to dominate games at home, I'm not going to be sold on them. I think they always on the road look better than they should for whatever reason. I don't know. They just get up for road games. But yeah, at this point, I need to see them be better at home before I start to really think that they're okay and that they're back.
Chicago dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Lost to an RSL team who didn't bother playing first choice goalkeeper or center back. Do we know why RSL swapped?
They do this. They do this sometimes. Beavers has played occasionally in the past. And they do like to rotate guys in and out. So I don't.
I mean, Diego Luna was on the bench too. So
yeah.
There was all sorts of nonsense.
Luna on the bench before? I feel like he was benched for another game too.
He was starting. He was out for international for a little bit, but yeah, he's been in. But he's been kind of stinking it up, and he came off the bench and scored. So good for him.
Maybe get his confidence back.
Facundo with the decisive finally scoring the penalty. Took it away from Muriel, by the way. We'll get into that, but Muriel drew the penalty and wanted it, and Facundo was like, "Nah,
bro.
You love to see it."
Yeah, Chicago's a dumpster fire, sell them. Nashville's a dumpster fire, sell them. New England is 3 or 4 dumpster fires, sell them very hard.
There's nothing to talk about down here.
5 goals in 8 games with Carlos Heel on your team. Hello? This is the meme. Do something. Just you poking it with a stick.
Can we talk about Nacho Heel just almost scoring a wonderful goal? Just great goal, and then just denied in the face. The best heel, Nacho Heel.
Yeah,
best heel.
Carlos is kind of having a bad year, although he did have a 60 in the last game. Despite
I guess you do. If you're gonna rotate, you're probably gonna rotate against the Fire. So
yes, true, because you're still gonna win 4-0 anyway, so it's all good.
Something we don't think about. Well, we should probably think about. It's hey,
yeah, the fighting Vanni Sartinis.
Let's go.
Up there in first, along with RSL, LA Galaxy, and Colorado. Exactly who we all thought was going to be top 4 at this point in the season. All of these teams were terrible last year. All of them are bouncing back. Well, except for RSL.
That's MLS, baby.
All of them are bouncing back. That's MLS. 100%. That's MLS. That's not sustainable, though. There's no way that Vancouver is going to go undefeated and no ties on the road this year. So while they have gotten off to a good start, and mind you, only 8 games played. There were 2 points behind Miami with 2 less games played. So technically, Vancouver has the best points per game in the entire
really just
league.
Happened? Dang it.
Well, who started?
I don't know. You keep going.
Because he might have just been rotated because they do have a lot of depth.
You keep going. I'll check.
Vancouver, I think the best start to the season so far. They've outperformed expectations the most, which makes sense as long as Brian White's healthy. He's as much as I hate him, he's actually kind of being a pretty good striker in this league at this point.
I just want to say it's been months that I've been talking about Brian White. You just shoot me down every time, and just like watching him
it's been years you've been talking about Brian White.
Just
and he's
watching him go off just in your face. So good. I love it.
To be fair, Brian White still not great on Sorare. Right, 63 average when he's white hot is like, this is not good enough, right? This is okay. This is only okay. This is the problem.
I know.
So that's why I don't like him. Not that he's not a good striker in the league, just that he doesn't have enough AA to be productive on Sorare.
Real quick, yeah, I do have it. The Minnesota United lineup is out, and Pookie is benched. Sorry, guys. I bought one before lock this week because I was like, yeah, Pookie's cheap. It was a new season card. It was cheap. I was like, whatever, dude. We'll throw him out there.
Also, Fragapane in there.
Yeah, Fragapane back.
Either Clark or Longwane. That's interesting. Kind of 4-3-3. That's a formation change.
I guess they're preparing for post-Reynoso era. They're playing around with some things, maybe. Pookie definitely just has to be rotation. Like, it's just yeah. I don't really see the reason why he would be out like that, but sorry.
Yeah, very interesting. So we talked Vancouver. RSL, I think, maybe the most talent they've had, right? Like, they've been consistently a pretty good playoff team. And you add Chicho, who's one of the top strikers in the league. Like,
what's his face?
Who's hurt? Ruiz?
Pablo Ruiz, yeah.
Yeah. Like, you add in to an already very good team, you add in a good striker, and you can kind of see what it does, right? I think everybody was kind of surprised when they beat LAFC and kind of blamed it on the snowstorm, but it's really kind of catapulted them forward at some points. Solid defense, solid offense, great goal differential, like winning at home and on the road.
They're making it happen.
They might be one of the most complete teams in the league, to be fair. Like, McMath and Glad are very underrated at the back. They always very solid defensively. And like Chicho and Luna are gonna score goals. So like this is definitely a team to watch, and a team that probably is gonna not have a ton of people stack. But is probably a pretty decent shout if you want like a really underrated stack that's going to do really well. A not so underrated stack is the LA Galaxy stack because everybody kind of knows about them at this point. They still give up too many goals. Like, I still think I'd rather have Salt Lake. Personally, I think Salt Lake may be the best team in the West.
Vancouver's up there. LA's up there.
I think Vancouver is good, but I want to see them be a little bit more consistent. Like, I think,
and we thought we were going to get that last night with Seattle, but Seattle just decided to throw the game or something, or I don't know.
Seattle's
going on up there.
Kind of booty.
Like, vibes are bad.
Kind of bad right now.
Yeah, Mike Basson brings up a good point that Chicho shows what Toronto and NYCFC could be with a scoring line. That's literally it.
If NYC could get Chicho, they'd be off and running for sure. Because very similar, especially NYC, like very similar, like very solid midfield, good center back, good goalkeeper. So yeah, that's the difference right there. RSL to NYC, that's the difference. It's just more goals, 9-9. RSL's 15-8. Right? You add 6 goals into what NYC can do, and they're up near the top too. Galaxy, I still think there's a cap just because too many goals allowed. They're also been very good on the road. So that's good. But they need to be more consistent at home. Haven't lost yet, but only 1 win out of 3 is not a great start for them at home. Those are you got to get wins at home.
You got
Got to win your home games. Colorado, very pleasant surprise so far. I think we all thought they would be better. I didn't think they would be nearly this good this quickly.
That's it. That good or this okay this quickly.
I thought they would be like somewhere down and around here, and then make the playoffs and then be a tough out. Like they'd have some things together towards the end of the season. But really, really good start,
it also
especially
helps
lately.
That most of the West is kind of booty.
Yes, the West is definitely the weakest conference.
It's a little shaky.
And you can see kind of where some of their results or points are coming from. Like a home draw against Nashville's not good. Beating RSL on the road's a big result, but like this doesn't look very good at this point. This doesn't look good. Losing at Houston to home. This is like okay. This is okay considering it was Miami's B team. And then the last 2 games they've beaten the worst teams in the West. So
this will be interesting if they could break down Cincy's defense. That's going to be like a
really good. Like both these games, really, it'll be really good test because like this is winnable or at least resultable. This if they get a draw at Cincy, you'll be over the moon. But I don't think they will. But some of this is just kind of poor schedule, if that makes sense, because they are only +2. Like these guys have all been very good, goal differential wise. These guys can't defend, so they can score. Cole Bass has been doing well, moving them forward. But yeah, I'm not sold on Colorado yet. I think this is about as peaky as they can go, but it's good news that this early in the season, they've already got points in the bank to where they can kind of have a little bit of a slide down and still be okay.
Whoa.
They're
Daniel, Cabral was booty just last night?
Yeah. I think
last night?
I think we could just cut that off after the word booty. Cabral was so booty.
More like Cabral is so booty.
Yeah.
Hey, but he's playing. I've been holding for 3 years. It's bound to come good eventually. It's bound to come good eventually.
It's really not. Till they get USL League One covered and he moves to Union Omaha, and I don't think you're in good shape there. Okay, Houston, the Fighting Ben Olsons. The fact that they're in 5th right now is relatively absurd. Like
Hector Ferreira off the bench.
They should be nowhere near 5th place with the amount of injuries they've had and Champions League and like they are absolutely killing it and less games played. Yeah, they
Ache's back, baby.
This is a team that's going to host a playoff game. They're going to be top 4.
Wow.
This is a team that's going to host a playoff game. Everybody else, I don't know yet.
Okay. All right.
But I'm pretty confident that Houston and RSL are both going to be in the top 4 coming out of this.
Fighting Ben Olsons. We love it.
Unless Houston has like a bunch more injuries, which is possible.
We'll see.
LAFC. What the heck do we make about LAFC? I think this is very telling. Don't play them at home is kind of what I'm getting out right now. But like they can't defend. They give up 14 goals in 9 games. Like they can't defend at all. So I think this is a stack that maybe is worth having when they're playing at home. It's probably a decent stack because they will get some chances against some bad teams at home. Actually, how many of the bad teams have they already played at home? Seattle, Kansas City, Nashville, Galaxy, New York. So this will be a really interesting game. That'll be a really interesting game. So they get one.
Oh, God. We host LAFC this season? Rip. That'll be a fun game.
4.
Boy, that is September. What the heck are we looking at September for?
I'm just looking at how many of the bad teams they have left. So they've still like 5 or 6 like really good matchups left. At home.
Talking of booty, Hugo Lloris. I rest my case.
God.
I gotta tell you, like, I don't really watch a lot of LAFC sometimes just because of the West Coast difference. But watching
Yeah,
last
me
night,
neither.
like, Hugo Lloris looks like he doesn't give a shit about playing in the MLS. Like, he's just like, eh. He just goes, he's like, oh, okay. He just, I don't know if it's like just a French thing. I don't know what it is, but he just like looks like he's just here for a good time, not a long time. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Yo, shout out Bob Flynn, my guy. Hello, ladies.
It's
Charlotte
pronounced
is not bad.
Ladies.
They're not bad. They're not bad. They're just not great either.
Charlotte is okay at home. It's good at home.
They're okay at home.
This could change though. But well, actually, I don't know how much this really changes. I kind of think LAFC is the one that's going to end up getting Kevin De Bruyne. Like, why would he go to the Galaxy and mess with the Pooch Pencil thing? Like, he is Pooch, right? And so I think he's going to go here, which makes more sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing, right? Like LAFC, even if I remember correctly, last year they had a weird start. It was CONCACAF, it was all this stuff. Made 3 finals and lost them all.
Yeah.
But they always figured out they're going to make some splash starry moves in the summer. LAFC, we have Giroud come in the summer. It's going to change. And LAFC is just going to hang in there and make it happen because they do have talent. And yes,
and they can score.
They get caught out in transition. They push bodies forward, and it bites them in the butt a lot of times. But it's one of those teams. In the MLS at this point, as long as you can outscore everybody else, who cares? Like, that's where we're at this point.
Yeah, to some degree. I mean, I don't think they're going to be like elite, but we'll see. Austin's next. I don't think Austin's this good, to be fair. I think Driussi makes a big difference in a lot of these games. But they're still -1. And I don't know. I don't see the talent around Driussi to really be that good. Now they are in the West, so like that's good. They'll get some good matchups where they'll probably cook. But I don't think they're really that good. Speaking of not that good, St. Louis is not that good. Again,
it's just the West. Just
home away. Some of these teams, the home away thing matters more. Like LAFC, I wouldn't play them ever away. St. Louis, I wouldn't play them ever away. Like if I have their
Kansas
stack.
City.
Charlotte, I would never play away. Here, New York City, don't ever play away. Like there's some teams where like it matters a whole lot more than others. St. Louis is definitely one of those teams. Again, too many goals allowed. Don't know that they're really gonna sustain this, especially since they scored 2 goals last night that were, fouls. So really, there should be 13-14.
Should have been sent off.
It shouldn't have been sent off, but it should have been a foul, at least. And I know Alex isn't here to defend SKC, but yeah, at least the second one was 100% a foul. Like that was a good football tackle, like American football. He lowered the shoulder and dropped the boom.
With being that we haven't talked about him yet, but St. Louis and Kansas City, I was going to save it for later, but being that we brought up Alex and he can't defend himself, he actually sent me a video. I'm going to try to play it and hope it works out. I haven't watched it. I don't know what he said, but Alex
you didn't pre-screen it?
No,
oh, no.
No, I just #trust the team.
All right, while there's Sunday shenanigans, I get to touch grass and give you 30 seconds. We are asked. We're never going to win another game. Sell your Melia. Luis Muriel's massive. Orlando's mid. Jorge, have faith. DC United's ass. NYCFC is massive as shit. Kasim Pasa's ass. Salvador Perez is the greatest baseball player to ever live. I don't know. That's my shenanigans for this Sunday. Sporting, sell Melia.
Bro, that was a pretty good breakdown, actually. In like
apparently, we're selling Melia, even though we've been pumping Kansas City for like weeks now. What
it took me 30 minutes to say so far, he said in about 2 minutes. Look at him in the chat. Oh boy, he's living the dream right now.
Oh man, there you have it.
I don't know. I think we need to skip Minnesota just so that we can get to SKC. Yeah, sell your Melia and buy Salvi Perez. That's the name of the game out here.
There you have it.
SKC. So I have a theory about SKC, and I would love to hear Alex's thoughts on this, but maybe he'll chat us. Maybe he'll chat us. No, I have a theory that's like totally different, right? I have a theory as to why, they've given up 16 goals this year and like can't win games. They're like 5 draws.
Are you tanking for Wembanyama?
Well, he's already been drafted, so that's not a great strategy if that's what they're trying to do. I think, right, they're a great team with tons of talent, but they're also the oldest team by 1.5 miles in the MLS, and they literally can only play 70 minutes. Like, that's my theory. In all seriousness, I think other teams, when they get to 70 minutes, SKC loses a step, and they just, like, they can't defend. Like, literally look at their starting lineup. All of them are over 30 years old. Like, they're all just super old. Johnny Russell, Fontas, Melia, Polito, I think.
Hey, great goal by Polito. Respect. Put some respect on Polito's name.
Great goal.
They are very old.
And we're not arguing that they can't score, right? Because they can definitely score. The argument here is that they're a step slow in defense at all levels, up and down, in the midfield, all the way back. And I don't think they can defend. So I am very interested to see. They're the unskilled version of Miami. Let's say they're the less skilled version of Miami, because Miami is like world-class skill. SKC is like very good MLS level skill. But yes, they're basically Miami, except not quite as good.
But not. They're like Miami, but like not really.
They're Miami, but not. And they don't have Drake Callender to bail them out of a lot of bad situations. All right. Back to Minnesota. 7 games played, right? I think very interesting team. I think they will eventually rise as long as they can figure out how to score goals. But I'm still on the Minnesota bandwagon.
Well, Pookie on the bench ain't gonna score goals. Tell you that.
Well, he might score goals off the bench, like coming off the bench. Portland. I'm kind of surprised Portland is so low. Like, man, they just need, any kind of a defense whatsoever, and they have Croupeau and Kamal Miller back there. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Rest in peace, Kamal Miller. I was so excited. I was like, he's going to Portland. Croupeau, their defense is going to be great. I'm going to keep using Kamal Miller. Nope.
See, I think eventually they will probably figure it out. But as of right now, they just can't defend. And if you can't defend, you are going to give up late goals. And they sucker punched Columbus twice and couldn't win the game. So
that's true. That's true.
We have a guest in here.
Can you hear me?
Can hear you.
Okay. Should I wait until you guys go to the review for Sporting STL, or can I vent now?
No, just vent now. Half of the show is just this. This is most of the show now.
All right. It's a table review. All right. So I said in the chat, we dropped 14 points from leading positions. I don't know what to do. Legit. I go to these games and it's like we come in and we score 3 in the first half, and I'm like, we're the greatest team of all time. We're gonna win the MLS Cup. Like, we have the most complete attack in the league. And then Fontas will just pull a hammy on a track back and let Klaus shove him over 3 times and score. And so I feel like at this point, I'm losing hope in our defense. I still feel like we have like a top 3 attack in the league. Shallowy finally got on the score sheet. I just don't know what to say. Like, last night was the last straw.
Did you hear my theory about them just being way too old? What do you think about that?
I can see where you're coming for that, but then again, you can look at like who's bumping up our age. Like, Melia's 37, Johnny Russell's 35, Fontas is like 35 too. We have some young guys like Willie's, I think 24. Polito's, I don't think he's hit. I think Polito's 30. What do you say?
Agata's not in there at the end of games. They sub him out.
He'll start being our sub from now on, though, because Johnny will probably start next game. And so
that'll help some.
I think age is kind of there. Our backline is so slow, dude.
Retirement home FC, baby.
Yeah, that's what we are. Can we get Messi now?
But like at all levels, like you can cover for a slow backline if you have a good press, right? But they don't have a press because they've got Johnny Russell out there at 1 billion years old.
Dude, I think Klaus like legitimately wanted to kill both of our center backs last night. Like there was
He
a
did.
hit on him. He got a
He
bonus if
legitimately did.
like he elbowed Rosero, threw him to the ground. Like it was like it took so long for them to realize like, hey, if you just like push him back, maybe the ref won't call it. And so in the second half, we got much more physical. But then again, like that second goal was a foul. The first one I can see it not being, but the second one was definitely a foul.
Yeah, it was
On a
shoulder
guy
to
off the
shoulder.
push.
That's it's not the second one. The first one you
second
have an
one was
argument
not.
for.
Hit the
The
weight
second
room.
one was a
Agata.
full
Hit
on.
the weight room.
The second one was like he put his head down. That was a running back running through a linebacker. Like he put his head down and like went through him. He thought he was playing an Arrowhead.
I think he thought Agata was the ball. The ball's yellow, and I don't think Agata's yellow, so he can't really like. He's not doing the right thing. Yeah, Klaus. I think he legit hates SKC with a passion, and so
It's a rivalry game.
Hey,
Yep, that's derby.
We have the next time we play him is at home again, so let's hope maybe that then we'll be okay. Besides that, Chris, DC United is falling off without Cleach.
Well,
you guys need him to win.
Let's wait till we have some guys come back from injury and yellow cards and all that fun stuff before we write off the whole season here.
Or maybe NYCFC is just massive.
NYCFC is really good if they could score, which they had like 7 chances to score and they only scored 2. So like, I think that's what we were talking about. If they got Chicho on that team, like they would be massive. But as of right now, I'm not sold that they could consistently score against good teams.
Yeah,
but like Jackson Hopkins has started 3 games in a row, guys. Like let's be real.
Yikes.
Okay, I don't know who that is, but that sounds bad.
That's the problem.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, all right, Alex, what are you doing? You staying here? You hopping off after your rant? What's going on?
I'm gonna hop off, get some food, and then watch some wrestling. So I'll leave y'all be, and I'll see everybody on Wednesday for me to just dog on SKC more and more.
Yikes. Well, we'll sleep on it. We'll see. We'll check it. We'll check in a couple days and see how you feel. Rest in peace, SKC.
Yeah, rest in peace. All right, y'all.
R.I.P.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Yep. See ya.
Look at that.
That was Bob from Michigan calling in. Mad at SKC. It was a rough day. Rough day on the plains. So,
all right, let's get through this.
All right, we got what? 3 more teams. We gotta get through this. All right, Seattle is booty. I don't know what to say at this point. Like, Jesus, guys, they have a 0 goal differential and they have 1 win all year. Like, how is this even possible?
And it was like 5. It was like what? 5-0, 5-1.
They smoked somebody. But yeah, like Seattle's like just really weird.
Oh man,
I don't know what to make of Seattle. Like, they obliterated Montreal, but outside of that, they've been just kind of terrible.
Lost to San Jose.
Austin at home was a draw. Colorado at home was a draw. Dallas on the road was a draw. Like, man, it's bad. It's real bad.
We all got fooled. They beat Montreal 5-0. We were like, oh shit, they're back. João Paulo's back.
Yeah, they come to DC next week. That's a fascinating game. I'm excited about this game. I'm gonna start my DC stacks.
Well, they got 2 red cards, so they're gonna have nobody there.
Exactly, it's gonna be great. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's still Seattle, so part of me still wants to say like, wait till August. They'll just win all their games after August, and then like, who do they play in August, right? So like after Leagues Cup, they're gonna get into this Minnesota. Like, well, this is kind of not a good stretch, but like SKC San Jose, like that's winnable. Home against Houston, maybe Hector Herrera will be hurt again. There's just not that many games after August, guys. Like, they might be in trouble.
Dude, rest in peace, Seattle, man. My lord.
Seattle might be in trouble. They end the season with Portland at home. That's going to be... Like, this is already shaping up. Like, look at these standings. This is already shaping up to be a loser, gets knocked out on decision day in a rivalry. Like, that might be a great game.
Since we're kind of all over the place real quick, and we're talking about Seattle.
Yeah.
How much of this is Brian Smetzer, like, and like this kind of goes, and I feel like we've talked about it before, but like Peter Vermees, Brian Smetzer, like all these like old MLS coaches, like they're kind of getting played off the pitch, man. Like it's one of those things where like either they have to adapt to this new like high flying, high spending league that's becoming, or they're gonna get left in the dust. Like it's
or Ben Olsen, except that he hasn't been. He's the exception to the rule.
Right. Well, that was just stagnant at DC far too long.
Caleb Porter.
Porter. Poppy ball sometimes. Say what you will about Oscar Parejo, but like up until like half last year, it was like, oh, buddy, like things need to change.
Gary Smith, Nashville.
Is parking the bus dead in MLS?
I mean, you're kind of not wrong. There's kind of a lot of coaches, but I mean, Vanny is in LA. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if it's like I think the league is definitely changing.
Got left from Portland.
I think the league is definitely changing, and some of these guys that were really good at MLS 2.0 are now really bad at MLS 3.0.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying.
But like some of them have definitely adapted. Like Greg Vanny's definitely adapted. Although Greg Vanny was kind of like MLS 3.0 before MLS 3.0 was a thing, because like he had Javinko and Bradley and all these guys, and they ran a very attack like that. I think Ben Olsen is really the one that's adapted most. Like at DC, he looked like he was getting left behind for sure. And that was like 5 years ago. But he is definitely adapted at Houston. He's done wonders. All the other ones though, yeah, kind of. I get it. I get where you're coming from with it. Like fun new coach in Charlotte, they're higher. Toronto has a fun new coach. Columbus to some degree, fun new coach, even though Nancy's been
literally new coach though.
Cincinnati, fun new coach, Miami, sort of kind of fun new coach, although Tata, Tata was again, he was kind of the start of MLS 3.0 with Atlanta back in the day.
So with the amount of spending they did when they came into the league,
yeah, to some degree. I mean, you could be onto something a little bit. And yeah, I mean it's not the same. It's the same league that it was 6 years ago. But yeah, we'll have to see if Seattle can eventually pick it up. To some degree, they do have 4 draws, and it's like, or 3 draws, sorry. And all 3 of these draws were winnable games. So like,
you know what's crazy?
Just win 1 or 2 of them, and they don't look that bad.
Is that if you look at Fry's score over like all those games, like he scores incredibly well, which is like so hard because you're like, oh, Seattle's bad. I don't want to play him, but even in bad games,
they've only given him 9 goals.
That's what I'm saying. Like he still scores really well, but they just can't get it done. They can't score the goals to win the games.
Correct. Yeah, they've only given him 9 goals. That's kind of what you want, is like bad teams that don't concede a lot of goals. Their goalkeepers are always the best. Like that was Drake Callender a couple of years ago. Miami was bad, but they didn't concede a lot of goals.
Used to be Gallese.
Joe Willis Nashville was always like decent. Gallese to some degree. I'm trying to think of other. Chicago, Chris Brady had some good scores at one point. Slonina, when he was a thing, they had good scores. That's kind of what you want, is the teams that are always under pressure, but always. Bill Hamid back in the day.
Hated Morris the GOAT.
So yeah, Seattle, adapt or die. Dallas, injuries, man. Like, let's just wait. Let's not count them out. Things can go 100% right for them at some point if they.
Hey, Peter Musa got to go.
Moose is finally off the mark. Ferreira is very close to being back. Velasco is like somewhat close to being back. Like over the summer, he'll be back. So let's not totally count out Dallas until we see their full striking capabilities. But this is a little concerning. Their defense isn't as good as it was last year. But yeah, they've got a lot of work to do for sure. San Jose, absolute booty. They're maybe the worst team in the league. I mean, it's pretty clearly either New England or San Jose at this point. San Jose just gives up so many goals. Like New England at least doesn't give up a ton of goals, whereas San Jose just like doesn't care. They just throw caution to the wind, and they are garbage. So that's the league. That's where we are at this moment in time.
Dude, look at you. See, this is why I'm saying we needed that. Are you tired of talking? I feel like you.
I mean, I can't see straight, but that's normal, so it's fine.
Dude, what a great breakdown. See, this is why I asked you to do it. I remember like back a while ago, I was like, hey man, we need to go through the table. You just like ran through. I was like, damn, this is great. And you did it again. And to the point where it's like, do we even need to go through all the games now? Because I feel like we kind of just did it.
Yeah, to some degree. I mean, I think there's still some games, like individual games from last night.
Yeah, there are some
like
games
things
that we want to talk
happened.
about.
Things were happening.
Things were happening. Well, where do you want to go? Or chat if you want to chime in. If there's a game that you want to talk about, something that you saw that you're like, whoa, this is crazy. Let us know, and we'll run through it.
Also, back to Bob's comment about Aiden Morris. He'll be gone in the summer. No doubt in my mind.
So?
He's gone. No doubt in my mind, he's gone. Some big team will come offer money, and he will leave. Same with Cucho. That's why I'm not 100,000% sold on Columbus just dominating everything.
You think maybe? I don't know, man. I'm so in the camp of like, look, I know this is a selling league, but like, there comes a point where you need to run it back, and you can't do that without these players. These guys are so pivotal to like they're about to win Champions Cup, right? Like you were making a run in Champions Cup, you're competing there.
Yeah, but by then it'll be over.
You're still in a good position in the league. It's like why not go for it? Like go for it, sell after, or maybe do like sometimes you see players they'll sign the contract and make the move, but then stay till the end of the year. Maybe one of those.
But
things.
That's not like think about it from the player's perspective. You get a contract offer from Man City. Are you going to go into their preseason camp, learn their whole system, get into the preseason mode, be able to fight for your place in the team as everybody's training and nobody's playing games? Or do you want to wait till the end of your season, go over in the winter when they're in the middle of their season and try to integrate yourself into a team that's already playing week in and week out and already has a rotation set and already has all this stuff done, right? Like, as the player, you want to move in the summer. And I get that doesn't help the teams.
But is Aiden Morris going to Man City and playing?
Well, no. I'm not saying Man City. But, like, I think he is going to go to, like, a Big Five league. I think somebody will grab him because he's absurd. I think he plays for the U.S. national team. Yep. In Copa over the summer, and somebody goes, "Holy crap, he's shutting down Brazil," and we need him on our team. Man.
Like, dude, he's just dominating teams.
He's incredible, and he's more like he's so different from what the U.S. national team has at center mid.
Right,
like all of our center mids outside of maybe Weston McKennie. McKennie is the only other one that kind of can go forward and actually create. But, like, Tyler Adams is a destroyer. Like, Musa, to a large degree, is a destroyer. Like, he gives us something so different. And I think he actually will play at Copa significant minutes for the U.S.
Is he playing Copa or is he going to the Olympics?
I mean, if he has the chance to play Copa, I think he's going to play Copa. I think if it's Greg Berhalter, so who the fuck knows? But if it's me, I'm going, look, my four midfielders at Copa are going to be those four that I just mentioned, Musa, McKennie, Adams, and assuming everybody's healthy, Musa, McKennie, Adams, and Aiden Morris.
So where's Giorena in all this?
He's further up the field. He's more of a forward.
I guess.
Winger. Like, he's in the Pulisic, like, I don't think Giorena is a midfielder. I don't think he's going to do any work defensively.
So who do you bench then? Because you have Weah, who's been fine.
I think you bench Reyna.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's Pulisic on one side, Weah on the other side. Whoever you want to put up top, whether it's Ferreira if he's healthy or Josh Sargent had a really good year. So, like, I could see him being the number 9.
I just don't see Aiden like benching anyone on this team to start for the U.S. men's national team.
I don't think.
I think he goes to the Olympics.
I don't think he'll start, but I think
needs to go to the Olympics.
I think he would play significant minutes.
Yeah. See, Bob knows it. Berhalter won't use him correctly and force him to play out of form.
Well, true. That's it. But even if he goes to the Olympics,
can you imagine if he went to Benfica or Porto or anywhere?
Oh yeah,
so
Benfica,
good.
Porto. Like, I mean, Ajax had a bad season, but like those big teams, or like your like West Ham's. I mean, I want to say Everton, but they're going to get relegated. Like your mid majors, right? Not the Arsenal, Man Cities of the world,
right?
But like teams that are mid-tables and top 5 leagues. I think that's where he fits right now. Haji Wright, another good shout. Haji Wright's been really good.
It'll be interesting to say. I don't know. It's like the way that
But I do think he does international stuff over the summer, and I think he gets sold off of it. Happens all the time.
Okay. All right. We'll take it. I guess we'll see.
And Cooch is going to get sold too because he's going to score 4 goals at Copa. And somebody's going to be like, wait, it's a Premier League dude that's like 24, 25 and scores goals at Copa? Come on. We need him.
I don't know.
Columbus,
I don't want to see Columbus broken up because the team's going to be so fun. They're going to make a run. They're balling right now.
They may get $50 million in transfer fees this summer.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see.
So do they buy Holland with that? Potentially.
It's hard to get people to Columbus. All right. It's let's see. Mike Basson chiming in here. Based on his style, wouldn't Morris be ideal for Bundesliga? He could reinvigorate
really
Bayern's midfield for sure.
Is he starting over Kimmich or Goretzka though?
They need something. Harry Kane can't win him the league.
Harry Kane can't win anything, bro. It's so bad. Like where I get that Bayern didn't have a great season, but like I don't think Morris is starting over Musiala or Kimmich or Goretzka. You know, like I don't think that's happening.
All right. I wonder what Bayern looks like.
Tuchel is definitely an issue.
All right.
Sure.
Let me throw you one. If you had to choose, right? If you had to choose
like
one coach,
Dortmund?
he's coming to your team. Would you rather have Thomas Tuchel or Frank de Boer?
Oh God.
I really want to know. Like, which one would you choose, Thomas Tuchel or Frank de Boer?
What kind of team? What kind of team? Like, am I like
your team? Whatever your team is.
I mean,
coming to your team,
I'd take either of them in the USL Championship. You know,
they might end up.
I don't know. I'd still rather have Tuchel. Like, De Boer is like failed at like small places. Tuchel's at least failing at big places. You know, like Tuchel's still at least going to finish like second in the Bundesliga, which I get for Bayern as a failure, but like didn't Man United finish like 10th or something?
I don't know, man. I'm biased because like back like when he was at Chelsea, right? Like we went from Frank Lampard, like oof, to Thomas Tuchel to winning the Champions League, and it was like let's go, and then sacked him immediately after, and it was just all downhill from there.
PSG got to the final with Tuchel of the Champions League. Like I don't think Tuchel's that bad. Have them as joint managers. Yeah. That's I'm
not as down on Tuchel as everybody else is, because everybody else obviously just watched him destroy Bayern and everyone's upset about it, which doesn't affect me at all.
Can we just be honest and say this wasn't Tuchel's fault? It was Harry Kane's fault. Like Harry Kane needs to go somewhere that has no hope of winning, like Tottenham, and he will be very good there. But he will not be good on Bayern.
Give me Bruce Arena over anyone. I love it.
Even or Wayne Rooney. Porter.
There you go. Let's do a what is it? Yeah, I don't know. Do we ever see Bruce Arena coming back to the MLS? Actually,
no.
Is he done?
I kind of think he's done.
Why not?
I kind of think he's done.
It is what it is. New England needs him. Rest in peace. It ain't Caleb Porter.
My God, they've fallen off a cliff.
Oh man, you hate to see it.
Dylan Barrero will be back soon, so it's okay.
It is. I did see. Was it Deke? I think just posted that I picked one up. Said he was almost back. There's a few people already on the Barrero. Hey man, look, it's one of those things where at this point it can't get any worse, right? So like the risk reward is there. It's only up from here.
Barrero is a really good player, to be fair. He's the Tejan Buchanan of that team.
He's also really good at not staying healthy.
True, he is really good at that. But like, if you think back to the glory days of the Revolution, it was Carlos Gil with a really good attacker, which they don't have right now. They don't have their Buxa, and they don't have their Tejan Buchanan, which is Dylan Barrero.
Right. That was such a fun New England team.
My God, it really was.
Even though watching them destroy us in the playoffs was rough, with the Nani disaster class, God, I'll never forget it. But it is what it is. That New England team was fun.
Quinny would never work for New England. He would go to NYC and no one else. You know?
No, he'd go to New England. They got the Boston Celtics there.
Maybe.
Close enough.
What other
Like
teams
home
do
away
we want
from
to
home.
talk about? Any other
I don't
teams
know.
we want to talk about? Do you guys want any opinions on anything?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like one of those things where like I had the idea. I thought you were just gonna like run through the standings and do that, but you just went like full deep dive to the point where I was like, oh, like let him cook. Like we let him cook. So it's one of those things where
I think every now and then you gotta just like see where you are. You know?
Yeah.
Like this team's better. This team's worse. This team's only at home.
Well, that's why I wanted to do it too, because it's one of those things where we're halfway. Like I know we run through and go through the games and what happened, did it, and like results, but like we haven't really sat down like overall picture of the entire league as a whole, looking at the macro of it. And I don't honestly, is it just me that like I don't look at the standings anymore?
No.
And I know people like to
Well,
argue
you
where they're like,
shouldn't
oh,
look-
the regular season doesn't matter, blah blah blah. Everybody makes the playoffs, and they might be kind of right because I
No,
haven't
they
looked
are.
at the standings once.
They for sure are. And you also shouldn't look at the standings in any league until you get to about halfway, you know?
Right.
Or even like we're at a quarter, like that's a nice little like check-in time, but then you should start to look at the standings for real at about halfway. So yeah, I wouldn't look at the standings on a week-to-week basis either.
Yeah, like people get obsessed with that. Like we go, they're like, "Oh, we're in last place," and it's like the third week of the season. I'm like, "Who cares?"
Yeah.
Literally, who cares?
Yeah. You've
Like-
played the two best teams in the league on the road. You're not supposed to win those games. Like things will balance out. It's okay. Right?
Dude, Andy Black.
That's
would
where
go to New
Colorado
England
is right
and
now.
sell
Oh my
Carlos
God,
Hill.
we're in fourth.
And
it's
hopefully he makes Nacho Hill a DP. That'd be fun.
Oh God.
And they would sign Sean to play goaltender. Oh, you love to see it. Shout out all the data boys, all the top lads over there. Oh, someone asked about the Red Bulls the other day or earlier in the chat. If you had to stack the Red Bulls, they were asking about a Red Bull stack. I wish I could find it. It's somewhere up in the chat. Shout out. It was Blitz. It was Blitz, our boy Blitz. He's been coming back. Do you stack Red Bulls? Do you just run? I feel like you just run Morgan and Forsberg, right? I don't really feel confident in anybody else.
Van
TBH.
Zier?
Maybe?
I haven't really looked too much at the individual Red Bulls, to be fair. Which is,
Right.
to be fair, it's kind of very Red Bullsy. So they don't really have individuals. They just win.
They have a system.
They don't care. Van Zier 55, pretty good. Probably worth a forward, although that price is a little absurd.
It's a good team.
Yeah, I don't know. Not enough AA. I don't think Van Zier is really. I'd rather have Brian White. If you're gonna have this, like I'd rather have the consistency of like Brian White is gonna score like, I don't know, 50% of the games maybe. He'll never score 4, but
Well, I'll tell you something. I'll tell you
Van Zier's
something that was
forward.
piquing my interest, and like I don't know why you would get him because the two obvious midfields are Forsberg and Morgan, but Frankie Amaya,
yeah.
like who's always kind of been around, never was really like a smasher, but it seems like whatever's going on in Red Bulls now, he's playing a lot better than before, a little bit more consistent.
Yeah. 43 AA is a good sign. I don't know. I've never like Frankie Amaya was like he was the number 1 pick for Cincy and everybody was very excited.
Right.
And then he just kind of sucked for like 6 years.
Literally.
And like I think he's okay, but like this is what he is, right? He's kind of Darlington Nagby with like a little bit of goal upside.
Right.
You know, like he'll score a few more goals. So like every once in a while he'll have this game, which is valuable. Like this game, it does help. But this is what you're going to get most of the time. And that's not going to win you that many rewards. You know?
Here you
like
go.
he doesn't really have this upside.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like overall, like in the Red Bull system, like you would take Forsberg and Morgan, but I think Frankie Amaya is like a close second if you wanted to like cheap your way into it because obviously the other ones are a little bit more expensive.
I don't know. Like that's not that much more. Like I'd much rather have Morgan,
wild.
Even though Morgan is less consistent. Morgan just has these days though, man. Like Morgan's
but like
crazy
even in this
sometimes,
game,
but, like,
he
even
had an
here-
assist. He had an assist that Van Zier couldn't put away. There was a couple other instances where they hit the post again. One of those things where like ever since the beginning, Red Bulls, they create the chances, they just can't put them away. And Red Bull's another team where, like, look, Van Zier has been fine and he's been great, but if they got an elite 9 that could create his own chances, not so reliant on everybody else to create them for him, wow, this team would be insane. And Forsberg is great. I need to buy one, to be honest. So would you? So if you could only have one, would you take Forsberg or Lewis Morgan?
Definitely Forsberg. I mean, mid-20s a couple times already. He's obviously got, decisive threat. So yeah, I think Forsberg's pretty easily. Although I mean, he's 32. So does he last a whole season in a Red Bull system? But yeah, I mean,
I
he
has anything to stress him out at home.
Is probably the. I think Forsberg's probably the guy for that. But yeah, I mean, the more that I look at it, the more I'm like, I don't really like any of these guys.
Yeah, that's why you get Forsberg and Lewis Morgan, and like that's it. That's really it.
There's really not. Just the style that they play just doesn't lend itself very well.
It's not so rare friendly.
Just so rare. Yeah.
Yeah. I will agree with you there. Here, I've been having this conversation with Bob Flynn back and forth for a while. And you and me are completely different people. So who's your fifth guy in a Galaxy stat, Chris? Joveljic, Brugman, or Delgado? Oh, shout out to our boy Jalen Neal, who is going to be back in this LA Galaxy team. He has been playing for the second team.
Can't wait.
He is getting minutes for the second team, so he is almost back. Jalen Neal's coming back. Defense might be getting a little better. And I'm in the camp that I think that LA Galaxy is going to go out and spend this summer and shore up the back line. Because their offense is fine. They just need to stop leaking goals.
So McCarthy, Himane, right? Pooch, Paintsel. And you're asking who the fourth or the fifth person.
Who would your fifth be? Yeah. Because Joveljic is obviously decisive dependent, but he's going to get a lot of chances.
I'm gonna assume that we're taking price into consideration because this price, I sold my Joveljic, like full disclosure. I think this price is way too high.
This is Bob. He just wants to win.
Price, I mean, Mark Delgado is probably the guy.
If you're worried about price, you ain't trying to win. Like me. That's why I don't win nothing. Because I dumpster dive. And I'm proud. Winning like 6 boxes this week. Let's go.
Why are we doing a 5-man stack though?
What?
Why are we doing a 5-man stack?
Because the LA Galaxy 5-man stack is going to hit more often than most teams in the MLS this season.
But like I feel like I'd rather just have Pooch and Paintsel and then go like a Celentano, Robinson, Miazga stack, or like
I'd just pick up Miazga.
Pooch Paintsel is kind of the two that you want. I don't know that really anybody like this defensive stack is not good.
There you go. Like Bassett, fifth man is Aiden Moore.
Aiden Moore, yeah, for sure. Like, why are we 5-man stacking when we could do Aiden Moore?
Where's Delgado's scores in this? Like, how's Delgado been since he's been back?
I mean, Delgado's been good, but like he needs a decisive to be relevant. And I just don't think he's going to get that many decisives. Like, I think this is more what you're going to get from Mark Delgado. Again, I sold one of my Mark Delgados because his price is higher than I think it should be. But like, I think we're just like a little high on the Galaxy in general, because I mean they are good to some degree. Like, why are we using a 5-man stack?
So is the defense the only thing holding you back from calling them like elite, from you like buying in?
Yes.
It's just defensively.
Oh, 100%. If they get Jalen Neal and then they go get, a real goalkeeper and another center back, or a left back or something. Defense
and goalkeepers just suck in the MLS.
Yeah. There's not that many good ones, to be fair. Like, you're looking at like Guzan Lennon, Celentano, Miles Robinson.
Oh, real quick, I just realized this and
Steve
I forgot to bring it up. Can we just pour one out for Aaron Long who went down in 8
Oh.
minutes, and it looked pretty bad.
Oh.
He went to slide, tried to be a defensive legend, and slid right into the post.
against
And it did
Red
not look
Bulls
good.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
did not look great. Rest in peace, here, 25 Aaron Longs.
Yeah.
Who you weren't using anyway, but now you're definitely not using.
And also Maria was out, so LAFC problems at center back at this point.
Yep.
To answer your question, if I have to pick one, I'm probably picking Delgado.
Yeah,
But I think it's close.
Oh, there you go. So Cornell and Lennon or Wagner for AA and DA.
Wait, Cornell and Lennon. What?
Yeah. You got Cornell and Lennon or Wagner. We don't stack here.
Cornell isn't. Yeah. Okay. So are we asking Lennon or Wagner? Is that the question?
Basically. Yes.
Depends on the matchup. I mean,
What a political answer, Chris.
Whoever's at home, like they're both elite. Like I don't know. If
Oh,
one of them's playing.
Shout out to Charlotte and Minnesota. It should be kicking off right now.
No.
Shout out to them. Look at us. Look at this timing.
Shout out for playing games. You know?
Yeah. Look at that. I did want to bring up something though. Could we just talk about how well Portland is scoring here against Columbus, who should be a tough matchup, but they all kind of smashed. Look at this. Eric Williamson playing 62 minutes.
I might want
Santi
Brugman,
Moreno
actually.
looking great. What?
Brugman is actually maybe my pick.
Oh, are you still looking
higher AA than Mark Delgado?
Interesting. So, look at that.
Know. We'll see.
Finding all the thin margin for you.
Back to what? Columbus, Portland.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring this up, and look at all these great scores. Look at all these great scores.
I don't see any great scores in here except Diego Rossi and Aiden Morris.
Oh, they're green. Evander. Boom.
Green does not mean great. Green means acceptable to play in a lineup.
Hey,
great.
That's what we need. Ooh.
If you get 5 60s, you score 300 points, and we all can complain about how 300 points doesn't get you a reward.
They could get you boxes though, and if you're like me, you won't get nothing in the box.
Complain about that if we get 5 decisives and we get a box out of it. We're still gonna complain.
Yeah. Here we go. Who's the best budget MLS forward at rare level?
Best budget MLS forward.
I'll tell you the one that was the best budget 2 weeks ago is freaking Joao Klaus, which now I kind of want to sell mine.
I mean, that is kind of the move. Like guys get hot and then you sell and then and then you just leave.
Yeah, you get the guy before he gets hot. He gets hot and you know he's kind of crap anyway, so you just sell him in the pump and then buy someone that you actually like. Boom. Easy money. Easier said than done, but easy money.
What do we consider budget? Like, is Insigne budget? Because, I mean, when he comes back, like $100 is too little.
Listen, get out of here with your old ass Russell.
You're 35-year-old. Actually, it's not a bad shout, to be fair, because I assume he's going to be pretty far down on this list.
Go into your food.
$36.
Go watch your wrestling.
Is not bad.
Wow, $36 for Johnny Russell.
Yeah, that's not bad. Polito's $39,
but $3 more for an Alan Polito, which they're both going to get hurt a bunch, which sucks.
True. Yeah, neither one is reliable. So if we're looking for budget down here, like in this area, Copetti could be a decent one.
Tyler Boyd's going to come back from injury eventually, but Nashville's booty.
Yeah, I don't think Tyler Boyd was ever that good.
Shout out to my boy, Luca Oriano. I remember talking about him a few weeks ago, said he had forward cards. Got a goal this week. Let's go.
He did. He's not going to get many goals because he's the left back, but yeah, this week.
Hey, if Barrial was effective, so could Oriano. In the perfect world.
True. You're not wrong. I don't think he's as good. I don't think he's as good as Barrial.
No.
But
that's definitely a gamble on a very, very young kid. Man,
your boy Schaffelberg?
I was about to say Jacob Schaffelberg. I think he scored pretty well last night, didn't he? All things considering.
All things considered.
No, he did not. Never mind.
Nope.
Never mind.
Just a 43.
Just kidding.
I mean, but this, like, for being budget, quote unquote, right? Like, he still has like 10 AA potential. Plus, he's gonna probably get a few goals and assists this year.
What
I don't think he's what.
What does Nashville have coming up?
Juicy. Not
even home
juicy.
to Atlanta, clearly, because
yeah, I don't mind. Schaufelberg is a pretty good budget right now. Prince Owosu is killing.
What a
things.
goal! What a goal! Shout out to his goal. Can we pull that up?
He might be a little overrated because of that goal. Like,
did his price pump after that?
Yeah, I think so.
So do you think he's probably going to be a starter here for a little bit?
I don't think this is like that's not budget for me. Like, this makes more sense. If you can get one in the 20 range, I'm okay with it. Is he a starter? No, I don't know. I don't think so. I think he's still like this rotational piece.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm kind of getting at is that Toronto, they've kind of been testing out forwards at this point. They have a lot of had a lot of nines.
I personally think Kerr's better.
Right. But with that goal that he scored, is he going to get a little bit more of the run right now?
Well, he scored 2 against Charlotte too. So like he's the hot one right now. But like I'm not going to buy a guy for a month, you know? Like if he doesn't score the next 2 games, he's going to get benched again.
Right.
So I think it's just like there's like I'd much rather have Schaufelberg than Owosu at this point. This is a crazy goal. Though.
What a goal. What a goal. Put your body on the line. That's a striker.
Yeah.
That's how you get it done.
That one's crazy.
That's how you get it done. There you go. You celebrate that.
But I'd rather have Schaufelberg at this point. But if Owosu is like in the 20 range, like makes some sense there. Yeah, we're getting into crazy territory. Dante Sealy's really not a bad option.
Stop.
I don't know when Velasco and Ferreira come back. I'm a little scared, but like he is kind of playing left back to some degree.
I don't know if Daniel's still here or not, but we're just gonna stay away from FC Dallas for the foreseeable future. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but Dante Sealy is averaging a 46.
Not worth it.
Like
I don't know if you talk
look
to
at the AA. Look at the AA. All he needs to do is score a goal, and that's a mid 70. You know, like he's not real. Like look at that. This is a perfect example. Perfect example.
I'm not throwing any money at Dallas unless
he's
it's
also
Jesus Ferreira,
21-year-old,
or Velasco, and that's it. Other than that, I want nothing to do with this team.
He was also a 21-year-old former top prospect.
Yeah. Well, they're all top prospects at the beginning.
And he's 16. Like, he's much cheaper than Schaufelberg. So,
yeah, but Schaufelberg is more goal dangerous.
Yeah, I think Schaufelberg better. I think Schaufelberg's a little bit better. But Sealy has a higher floor. And, like, there's nowhere to go but up for both of these guys. So, like, I'm actually okay with kind of both of these guys. But, yeah, I think there's a lot of bad options. Like, Vrioni's terrible.
Where are we on Ariel Lassiter?
Back row's terrible. Lassiter's, like, banging, man.
Yeah, low key. And we've said it. And Montreal isn't a bad team.
They have no forwards right now.
Except for Mason Toy, baby. Mason Toy is back.
Wait, what's Mason Toy's price? Because he's probably going to be the answer.
Mason, if I looked correct, like Mason Toy was like under $10.
Yes.
But
pick up a Mason Toy. You might as well. I have one. I'm pretty sure.
It's hard though, man.
I mean, this is still pretty expensive for Ariel Lassiter. I think I'd rather have Schaufelberg. I think he's very similar to Schaufelberg, to be fair.
My thing with Mason Toy is that it took so many injuries, all this to happen for him to finally get some playing time again. That it's like, how long is it going to last?
But he's also been hurt too.
I know. Yeah, I know.
Like, he's been in and out so much. Like,
we're all holding on to what could be.
All he needs is a little run, you know? All he needs is a little.
Oh, Mason Toy. What could have been
3 years ago. Like, remember the 4th of November?
Let's remember the 5th of November.
Yeah, well,
perilous treason or plot.
I forgot it. So, yeah, he's still only 25. He's $10. He's $4 on classic season.
One day it will be Mason Toy season, for sure.
I think today is that day.
Okay, calm down.
For him to at least get a run in the team. And if he at least gets a run in the team, maybe, sort of.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I own 3 of them, so I'm not biased.
We'll see. But dude, these have been some shenanigans. We're at an hour and 20 minutes. Shout out to everybody who's been in the chat this entire time. Mike Basson, Bob Flynn, all these good stuff, all these good people. Even Alex was hanging out here. I saw some new names too. It was pretty crazy. We didn't go through the games like you normally do, but this was kind of great. I definitely do. I'll say it again. We definitely needed to look at the table and kind of talk through some things. Look at some things. Yeah, there's some MLS going on right now. I'm going to go try to enjoy the rest of my Sunday for a little bit. Chris, is there anything else you would like to talk about? Anything else you want to bring up? Anything else you saw this weekend that you want to make sure we highlight before we get out of here? Mike Basson, we got you.
Very important. Last night, 10:30, Pittsburgh Riverhounds have finally scored a goal. It was a miraculous game. We looked like a real team again. I'm so excited to face our arch rivals who are 5-0 to start the season, who are top of the table at home next week, and it's going to be great.
Congratulations to the Riverhounds for finally winning a game.
We're still last in the table, but
there you go.
It's not the worst.
There you go. I'm very proud of you guys finally for scoring a goal. Not necessarily winning.
3 goals. No, we did win.
Wow. Oh, you did win. I saw 1-1 last time.
3-1.
There you go. Congratulations for finally winning. Real quick, shout out for everybody who showed up for some Sunday shenanigans. We'll be back next week, some more shenanigans. This Wednesday, we'll be previewing the upcoming weekend. And then I think that's it for this week. Because Thursday, we've been doing some drafts. But guess what? Your boy's going to be at the Orlando Magic playoff game. So we will not be recording on Thursday. Let's go, Magic. Play the song. I keep forgetting to upload it. Dang it.
Come on, man.
Wednesday. I'll have it on Wednesday.
Play the song.
I will play the song soon. But yeah, either way, thanks for everybody for hanging out. I appreciate y'all for being in the chat. We'll preview the weekend next weekend on Wednesday, and we'll see you again next week.